those are things that, you have to head into the future, and you need to take, even though you're an auto glass business and maybe you're a fucking guy, it's just you and your wife running the business, you want to make your life easier. You want to be able to compete on a higher level. When you have the right tools to compete, it doesn't matter how big or how small you are. It's all about the tools you use to compete. So, take risk. Stop being scared of change. Change is good. And just remember what I'm saying. It's coming, and it's coming fast. And you don't want to get hit by that train.
We are back in the house, and we have Mr. Michael McCarthy with us today again and again and again. We're trying to probably make this a monthly thing, but I think Mike's going to talk about that a little bit more. This is just a conversation of the raw version of auto glass. Go ahead, Mr. McCarthy. Let's hear it.
What's up, everybody? You ready for a spicy and juicy episode of On the Glass podcast with your host James Chapman? Am I taking this over? Like, I don't want to take it over. You got to ask me the questions, but I have a couple topics I would definitely love to.
Well, I'll tell you what, you drop a topic and then I'll ask a question for it. All
right. So first off, let's talk about a little podcast topic. So I went to start my own podcast, and I've tried to do this a couple times. Unfortunately, my time management isn't great at the moment. I have just a lot going on, so I haven't really been able to buckle down and actually do it. But before he hit the record button, we were talking about microphones. So if you plan on starting a podcast, it's pretty simple. You only need a couple different components. James is recording on his phone. I'm recording on a laptop off my MacBook. We both have professional microphones. He has a boom. I have a stand. I have lighting, regular lighting in my office. I'm not using any kind of special lighting. James has, backdrop and all the cool stuff because he, this is what he does. Like, this is his thing. And, every time I go to start to do it, I kind of like, I come out the box fucking hot. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go crazy with this. And then it's like, I look at my schedule. I'm like, oh shit, I have like 5 meetings on Monday morning. Like, this isn't going to happen. So unfortunately, my discipline hasn't kicked in that sense, and I haven't been able to really perform on the social media aspect of my idea of creating a podcast. But I've had multiple people reach out to me like, hey man, we want to listen to you. But unfortunately right now it's just not a good time, I guess. And I'm just trying to back off social media altogether, but that's just a topic we could discuss in the at some point in this podcast. But let's just go back to equipment. So you want to start a podcast, James has a microphone set up with an XLR cable, which I have that set up too. And I have like 4 mics. I have the recorder. But the problem is I have to take a USB card, literally, after I record. I have to match it up to the video, and then I have to sync everything. And that's really complicated. So I just went online. I found the Shure microphone, which is USB-C or XLR, so you could use it both ways. It came with a stand. It's a little more pricey than most of them. I usually don't like to cheap out on things, because I buy something, I want to buy it once. I don't want to have to buy it multiple times. But this is a USB. So if you want to get on the podcast with James and you want to start getting involved in this stuff, you could just buy this microphone. You could use, if you have a good laptop. I have a MacBook with the M4 chip or whatever, the M3 chip, so I have the really good camera on there. I use that. And, you could even use this on your phone. It's possible. But, right, James, it's great if you want to get into this and you want to actually sound clear and you want to be crispy. You want to have good video. The quality is very important when it comes to podcasts, because a lot of people just listen and they're not always watching a video too. So it's definitely important.
Yeah, well, the Shure has one. Rode also has a USB-C plus XLR mic. It's the Rodecaster, same as this. I just got all my equipment. I got my soundboard. It goes into my iMac, and then my phone is my remote camera, because you can use it on Riverside as your remote camera. Like, it links up wirelessly that way to Riverside. If you use Riverside, I know there is StreamYard. StreamYard does a similar thing. But in my opinion, hands down, if you're going to do a podcast, the best platform to do it on is Riverside, period. It's the easiest for editing. It's the easiest for uploading. It's the easiest. Like, it really, truly, it does use AI for to cut out some of the background noise. It uses AI to shorten up, so you'll see its move kind of funny sometimes, because it's cutting out the dead spaces, automatically. But hands down, I've used StreamYard. I've used a couple other platforms before I bought Riverside, and it was just testing. But when I went from Zoom, which was archaic, to Riverside, which Riverside's what you want to do. And the thing is that we want everybody to enter this if you want to enter it. Like podcasting isn't hard. Obviously I do it, so it's not like it's a hard thing, but you do have to get an RSS feed, and usually you can go through Spotify to get that. Mike, you set yours all up through Riverside? Did Riverside offer you an RSS feed?
Yeah, so you get you could just literally integrate everything into Riverside, and it's easy because like after you do the episode, you could just upload it and it's done. Like you name it, you put a description, and it does everything for you. It could go to YouTube, Spotify,
And you can schedule it to come
iTunes.
out at certain times.
Yeah, you could schedule it. So it's super convenient. I see a lot more like people are doing podcasts and influencers using it. It's great for collaboration. It's great for the AI feature because the AI feature getting rid of the dead noise. Or if you have like a moment where you're just ripping and you're just shooting, you're dropping some real nuggets, and the AI picks up on that. So like if you need to do a couple edits, it will cut everything for you, compress it, make sure quality's good, and then you could just like upload it into Instagram and be like, hey, I just dropped a new podcast, and you could just throw a teaser out there. So it's pretty reasonable too. I think it's like what, it's $30 a month or something.
Yeah, they have a
If
free
you
account.
pay for it monthly.
Yeah, they have a free account, which is decent. I mean, it'll definitely get you started. It'll get you up. It'll get you running. But then you have your consumer account, which is the $30 a month. But if you jump to the business account, because Jorge and I decided we were going to do the Spanish version and the English version, he could get in, so I didn't have to be there as a producer in the background hitting record. He could just log in, because once you get the account, no one else can log into it. Even if you're using your credentials, like it picks up on all that stuff. So like he couldn't log in California, and I had a spot logged in back here in Ohio, and it wasn't like, so it was like it started off at like $450 a month and then went up. Like the version, the one that we needed for our business, like if we was good to do a business one, would be 650. So that way he could have his own logins, he could have his own. So like, and it went up to, I think the top tier was like $1,000 a month. But if you're looking into the business one, like that's really expensive. So you better be, that's definitely out of my price range. Nothing I could even think about doing. So we stayed this way, and I'm just going to have to come in and produce them, like me, and just hit record. And then when they're done recording, and then I upload them. Yeah. So Riverside is very reasonable. They do have the free account, but it doesn't do what we want. What, the AI features aren't there and as strong, and it's pretty much just get in and then upload basically.
So James, I just went on the website, and I
Hmm.
don't know if they informed you like wrong, but like there's a team collaboration account. What a full studio.
Oh, no, they
It
must
says
have, because I had a meeting with them.
it's $29. I'll send it to you afterwards.
Yeah,
So there's a
definitely
couple
do.
different options. So like it's $408 yearly. It says if you pay in one shot. But I'm looking at the plans now.
Yeah, the business one you have to set up a meeting for. They don't
Yeah.
offer it on there. You have to, if you want a business account, which what I did is I set up a meeting with a remote salesperson, and then
Exactly.
that's
So they
when
were
it,
trying
yeah.
to sell you, not understanding what you really needed. But if you go on their website, it says team collaboration. Get multiple seats, unlimited production workspaces where you could define roles and permissions, and unlimited studios to keep projects organized. It says $30.
Oh, I got to do that then.
So when they say business, right? When you upgrade to business, what I'm assuming is there's actually real production teams using this, right? I don't see why they wouldn't. It's a great platform,
Yeah.
and you know they probably lock you into a contract. It's not month to
Oh yeah,
month, and there's a
it's yearly.
salesperson behind
Yeah.
that, trying to sell you remotely. But there's a couple other platforms that I was looking into this platform about a year ago. It's called Podium, right? Podium has like automatic Google reviews. Apparently, it has like an AI bot, all this stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, like I get on a call with this person, which they didn't sound like they knew anything about the program. So I already did like my research. I was on Reddit. I was watching YouTube videos, and they're like, yeah, well, the service is like $400 a month, and I'm like, that's pretty heavy for
Yeah.
each location. And I was like, damn, like that's really expensive. And I'm like, people will pay that, and since we're on the topic, right? So I guess we should just transition into like the technology and like the automation, how everything's changing
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, people don't realize like how many subscriptions do you really have? Like for my business, like if I the amount of money I spend on like between like if it's like a PDF editor or a you got QuickBooks, you have your glass software, you have, an inventory software, you have like something like Salesforce or Trello or Monday to put your team in place. You're paying for Google Workspace. How many employees do you have? Do you have Gemini on the integrated into your thing, which is an additional fee per seat? So it's like people, I kind of boggles my mind when I see people post like, oh, glass fillers 200 a month, and this one's $70 cheaper, and this. And I'm like trying to say to myself, like, you're nickeling, diming, like making your life easier. Like I will never understand why you wouldn't sacrifice money to make things smoother and have more workflow and have more streamlined, operating procedures.
Yeah, because that would give you a better work-life balance. It would, I understand for an owner, there's no such thing as work-life
Work
balance.
life balance is bullshit.
Yeah, yeah,
Bullshit.
yeah. So there's no, I get that, but like you would have a little bit more peace of mind. And given the fact that we bitch about our customers going to the easiest service possible in Big Red, and that's why they go there, is because everything's handled. It's streamlined, everything's handled, it's smooth. So you have the opportunity to integrate that into your business so you can start becoming more streamlined and smooth for your customers. And then it's like, well, that costs like $65 more a year than what I want to pay for it. And I do understand being frugal. I mean, I don't make a bunch of money, and I'm not going to be here going, oh, you should pay what, because, I'm just as guilty as everybody is looking at price when it comes to certain things. But when you're competing in a market with something that's going to streamline what you do to make it better for your customers, yeah, because you're wanting top price, you're wanting to charge top premiums for your work. So why wouldn't you buy something that made your work easier?
Well, so you don't own a company, right? So your
Yeah,
perspective
yeah,
on certain things is always going to be different, right?
yes,
I'm not going to say you have a worker mentality, but you don't really have a worker mentality. I think you have an entrepreneurial mentality that you just haven't tapped into yet because you were scared to take risk.
yeah,
And
yes.
and and this is what's involved in business, right? So when a person is, so frugal, and people are going to say, "Oh, you were bitching about urethane." Well, that's another situation, because when you're spending $200,000 a year on urethane and you could save 20,000 by not wasting it, that's a large portion of money that you could use that now for marketing. You could use that for someone's salary. You could use that for someone's benefits. So like they don't understand that, right? So I'm not frugal in any aspect of the business. Like you could ask anybody I deal with that, like, hey, we're switching to launch tablets. All right, give me 20.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not don't give me one, give me 20. Like, oh, I want to get into something new. All right, send me everything. Because without taking that risk and investing in yourself or investing in your company, you're always just going to stay in the same place. But this goes back to the conversation I consistently have with you, and I've been on the podcast and I spoke about this, is people are scared to get uncomfortable. And if you try to just stay comfortable all the time, you're always going to stay in the same place. And this goes back to 10 different topics I want to, there's so many things. I need like hours for this conversation today because, me and you were texting
Well,
last night, and I'm like, you know
we
what, let me
got
get on
weeks.
the, I text you, we were having a conversation last night, and I'm like, I want to get on in the morning. So, my first meeting today is at 9 o'clock. So I have fucking 2 hours. I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but I could kill two
Oh,
hours.
yeah.
I might have to get up and get
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
little
We might
cafe
take
mocha or something.
take a
But
little break and then
yeah,
come back. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I think my first meeting is at 9 or 8:30. Yeah, my first meeting's at 8:30. So yeah, I can go all the way to 8:30, brother. So I
that's
am
great.
in
So,
no.
I just have so many things I want to talk about because I think that, I think you should title this like market conditions, something along the line. Don't, just straight to the point what we're going to be talking about. So let's just go back to the AI and the automation stuff. So if you look, news came out, Amazon laying off 30,000 people,
Oh, layoffs are
right?
scary as fuck right
So
now.
layoffs right now are coming heavy in the auto glass business. Thursday, Friday, guys, you're getting your layoff check. Go collect that unemployment because all your big corps you work for are scared shit because the market is so up and down the last couple months. I would say I'm having a really good October for October. It's seasonality. It's different everywhere all over the country. But, you have to have the idea of like, we're really like, our year in auto glass is like January to September. Let's
Hmm.
just call it that. That's where our year, you should always plan to not make money. And granted, there's plenty of us making money during these 3 months, September, October, November, December. But if you're on a smaller scale, you don't have the same amount of cash flow, you don't, your customer base is as large as some of us, you need to prepare to get ready for those 3 months. So what you should do is focus on January to September. Well, some even August. I guess seasonality of where the kids go back to school. I know people always say when the kids go back to school, everything goes flat. I don't believe that. I think maybe you need to, find better quality leads, or you got to find new ways to create sales. Because if you're just waiting for it to come because you're real comfortable and you're so used to that stuff, yeah, you're not gonna get any business. But it just goes back to, you have to realize it's like a seasonal thing. We got 9 months. Like, prepare for that. Save money, put money away, get ready for the slow times, be prepared for your employees, be prepared to be able to give a Christmas bonus, have a fucking party, pay the holidays. Because guess what? Everybody's trying to use PTO right now around me. You know why? Because they worked all year, they took 1 or 2 days, and they want to use the rest of it. So now I got guys punching out Black Friday, which we're open. We got guys, the day after Christmas punching out. It's okay. I understand. That's what your time's for. It's good to do it now because, hey, they might be standing around doing nothing. But either way, I owe that money to them, so it doesn't make a difference. So it's okay. But be prepared for that. But it goes back to automation, right? So Amazon's laying people off. I guarantee you, all the big auto glass outfits, and maybe even some of the smaller ones, will be laying off people in this week.
Yeah.
They always
Every
get rid of
year.
them November,
Yeah,
Thanksgiving,
yeah, right
right?
at the holidays, they do their budget cuts through people. They don't do their budget cuts by building up a surplus throughout the year, like you were just talking about, and then keeping
Well,
people
it's all
on.
the
And
numbers, right? So
yeah,
like they need to, if there's shareholders, there's investors, if private equity is involved, they have to show them the numbers at the end of the year. So when they present those numbers to the board, and they're like, oh well, we grew from quarter one, two, three, we grew at like 15%, and then and in quarter four, like, we're down 15% on growth. That's a big thing, especially when you're presenting this to like a board, and these people have pieces of the company. So they try to trim the fat that way. It's probably one of the easiest ways, because if you're just an employee and you're listening to this, you got to understand how much it costs to actually have somebody working. you know me, my company, we could get down to the nitty gritty. Like, we know exactly the hours, how much it costs to run a truck per hour. Not everybody looks at it like that. Not everybody does that forecasting, or has those roadmaps, or does budgeting. But I mean, it's very expensive. So they think, fuck it, let me just trim some fat, get rid of the employees, and then figure it out when it starts to get busy. But that's another whole issue that people see, is like, what is your capacity, right? So how many people do you actually need when it's busy? How many people do you actually need when it's slow? You have to figure out what the sweet spot is, because you could be jamming in July and you're like, holy shit, I'm pushing work out for like 3 weeks. I might miss this potential to service this customer. I need to get techs. People rush. They hire techs that are just floating around in the market, jumping company to company. And then they scramble when the warranties come. The technicians aren't performing. People are milking the clock. Some guys aren't hourly. Some guys aren't salary. These are all things that like affect every business that has employees day to day, and it's scary at times. But
hmm
for Amazon to lay off 30,000 people is insane. You're hearing cuts across literally everywhere. Target is cutting employees now. These big companies, the economy is like scared in a way. I can't understand why. I mean, the stock market's just been absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's up so much this year, and it is so much positive going on. But I think people are just still shaky because they're just scared. This is a big consumer quarter where people are just going to buy, 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 buy. They're going to put their wives and their girlfriends' gifts before they change their windshield. Unfortunately, that's just life. So, like I said, you have to be prepared for that. But you know, What I see is people are taking advantage because they don't really understand how much automation and how much AI is really going to replace humans, right? Like, so I would say in our space as a hands-on technician, we have some security.
Hmm.
There's no robots coming out anytime soon, no matter what Elon pulls out of his ass, to come and replace a windshield. There's too many variables. There's way too much variables to how to do a windshield. Period. The
Hmm.
end. Maybe in the future they'll be able to fucking go and install a hot water heater because there's not as many variables, and that might
That's
affect the
still,
service home based business,
I don't
which
know. That's still maybe, man, because you ever been in some people's homes?
no, I haven't. I haven't. I haven't. Why are you in people's houses? I'm
Oh,
outside. I
dude,
go outside.
listen. I've been in plenty of people's homes that I'm just like, whoa, yeah. How you get into the attic? How you get into the? Because I try to be as hands on with everything as I can, so I help everybody out that I can in certain spaces. So I change water heaters for people. I put roofs up. I do. I help.
You said a
Repair
roof.
chimneys.
What the fuck
I've
is a
done
roof?
a
You
roof,
said a
dude.
roof.
A
A
roof.
roof. A
Yeah.
roof.
No, 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 no. It's a roof. We're in Ohio, bro. Hey, we're in Ohio, so don't Europe. There it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
so a roof. I've put roofs up. And just the last 2 weekends, I've been going up to my daughter's house and putting a deck on her house. So like, I help a lot of people. I try to help a lot of people, as many as I can, even though I'm not an expert in these fields by any stretch of the imagination. I make sure that everything's done per code, per book. You know what I mean? I go down through and make sure it's all the way it's supposed to be done. But there's been some people's homes I go and I'm like, oh yeah, it ain't no robot getting down in there. Ain't no way. But maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, so maybe that was a bad example. A hot water heater. Let's say fucking lawn care, right? A
Yes, yes, lawn
landscaper.
care.
You're
Yes,
telling
yes.
me they ain't sending out. You're on a block. You have all the accounts. You know, demographics different. Like every area is different. Like where I live, everybody's house is pretty big, and I can't I can't say a block, but just my where I used to live, where I grew up in New York. Like you'd be on a block, and everybody's on like a 50 by 100 lot. Everybody's got their little like 10 by 20 fucking patch of grass in the front, and granted, one landscaper would be like there could be multiple landscapers on the block, but think about it, automation. You have one guy drive up a trailer, drop off all your automated fucking
Mowers.
lawnmowers and
They're
trimmings,
there.
and
They're
then go
out.
and do the work, and they're there, right?
Yep.
So what people got to understand is you need to get really fucking good at your job, right? Because what's going to happen is all these people are going to lose jobs, and I'm going to say this is going to be more on the office aspect, more like just in our industry, CSRs, ADOS techs. The automation is going to become even managers, operation. I mean, I could go down the list. Anybody like has any kind of like admin work. I mean, I could probably be replaced by AI at some point or another, if they could tap into my brain and take the data and feed it into a fucking bot. But that it's you have to understand, and I really want people to listen to what I'm saying right now. That what's going to happen is because the automation and the AI is becoming so advanced so quickly, companies are going to implement as much as they can because it's going to save a lot of money and headache because it teaches the AI how to do something and it just does it the right way every time. It's very accurate. So what's going to happen with humans is you're going to have to be really fucking good at what you do to work for people. And if you're not, and you're just a mediocre fucking person that just gets by, does the bare minimum, just the body that just shows up to work, you're going to be out of job because the fucking people applying for jobs are going to be so fucking good. They're going to go to the top of the list, and the people that have been mediocre all this time just getting by because that's how they are and that's how they operate are not going to get fucking jobs because there's going to be so much talent in the market. You're not going to be able to touch it. And I think it's going to drive the prices of salaries down because there's going to be a flood of people. So people are going to want a job, and they're going to need money, and then they're going to need the family. So I think right now in today's day, $100,000 is basically equivalent to 52 grand 20 years ago. And I think it's going to re-level the playing field from when COVID fucking inflated everything.
But what is going to happen to the prices of goods? I mean, they're not going
It
to
has
come down.
nothing to do with prices of goods.
Well, if your salary's lower, how can you? If your salary's lower, you're not going to be able to afford these things. If it's driving
but but
salary
but but
prices down,
but that's not, no one cares about that.
what they
What I'm
should.
saying, of course they should. So they should get really fucking good at their jobs and stop fucking being half-ass motherfuckers and taking shortcuts and not doing what they say they're gonna do and showing up late and trying to milk the clock.
Yeah,
Because there's gonna be
yeah,
so much talent available that it's going to be it's gonna be very competitive. And when it gets competitive, the companies will be able to dictate salaries.
yeah.
Now,
It'll be
I think
a
salaries went up significantly in the last 5 years. I think it's gonna slow it down. I don't think they're gonna cut the salaries, but I think they're gonna slow down you know, how many people are gonna be making, a certain amount of money. I think
yeah,
it's just gonna level the playing field because
yeah,
automation is gonna handle a lot of those jobs.
yeah. Well, you guys get really good at what you do, like Mike says, or go become fucking famous TikTokers, like is fucking just flooding the one
All
percenters.
right, so now we spoke about automation, right? And I think the auto glass industry definitely needs to start automating a lot of processes. I'm working on it myself. It's working really well. I'm testing it. Um, I gave a couple people a phone number to call. The feedback we got was fucking unbelievable because,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Fucking nuts, right?
yeah,
It's just crazy with technology. But those are things that, you have to head into the future and you need to take, even though you're an auto glass business and maybe you're a fucking guy, it's just you and your wife running the business, you want to make your life easier. You want to be able to compete on a higher level. When you have the right tools to compete, it doesn't matter how big or how small you are. It's all about the tools you use to compete. So, take risk, stop being scared of change. Change is good. And just remember what I'm saying. It's coming, and it's coming fast. And you don't want to get hit by that train.
this fourth quarter is going to
You don't want to
be
get thrown off that track.
this fourth quarter is going to be eye opening with all the layoffs, with all the changes that's happening. Going into quarter one next year is going to be a little bit of a balancing act as well. But by the time quarter three hits next year, the dust will settle and it's going to reveal the new landscape of kind of what it's going to be like going forward. That's my prediction.
Well, I've been talking about it for what? About a year, right? And I
Yep.
said
Yep.
the end of this year is going to be a very big change. And I think there's going to be a lot of smaller companies going out of business.
Mm-hmm.
And, especially if they're not adapting. And I think we're here. And I agree with you. What you're saying, it's coming. And I think we won't really, like you said, next Q3 next year, we'll see how things change. But I think it's changed for the good. I don't find any negativity in the change. Like, if you can't adapt to the changes, you don't belong on the field to begin with. Right? You don't deserve to be here because there's other people that want it more than you.
Yeah.
And from a company perspective, like, why would you be in business not to fucking win every day? Like, your main goal should go out and win every day, no matter what it is. Guys that
Mm-hmm.
are just like, oh no, I'm okay, I'm comfortable. I just want to do my 2-3 jobs a day. You're not in Alabama, you're not in Kentucky, you don't understand. Listen, there's opportunity every fucking place you go. If there wasn't, none of these big companies would be in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
Listen to that. Listen to that. Repeat that in your head. You could do whatever you want to do, but if you don't fucking take action, nothing's going to change.
Yeah. We're in the backyard of the largest going. We're in the backyard of the American corporate largest going. The biggest one, like obviously, I know the home headquarters is overseas, but we are directly in the backyard. And
You're in the
there's,
fucking trenches in
I
Ohio.
know,
Are you
I
kidding me?
know,
That's the
I know.
fucking trenches.
Yeah,
You know,
and there's
where,
still
so,
business.
oh, there, of course, because there's always a way to create business. You have to figure out the pain point for the customer, and utilize that. Because the only way you could take somebody's money is if you solve their problems.
Yeah,
And if you could solve their problem, you could take their money. And most people will let you take all their money if you could solve their problems.
except for if it's $35 more a month on the
I know you don't want to say
AutoGlass
SafeLite on
software.
the podcast. I don't know because
Yeah,
fucking people instilled some fear in you.
yeah,
Fuck SafeLite, 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 SGC network. I fucking
Yeah.
SafeLite repair. What is it? SafeLite replace, SafeLite repair.
It's
Fucking
one of
branded.
those.
If
It's
any of you
such
people
a
from SafeLite are
jingle.
listening, your
It's such a
business model
jingle.
is fucking genius.
Yeah.
Everything you've done is genius. You know, half your employees hate you just because they would hate anybody they fucking work for because they're miserable people anyway, most likely. But overall, I think you deserve what you have just for the fact that look what they
They
built.
they
You
took
have to have
steps.
respect for them.
Yeah, they took
You have
steps that
to. You have
they took
to.
steps that no one else would take during times that no one else would take them. Like when they set up their program to go away from certain tools and train to a certain level of technician, which that training program, it's not producing a bunch of quality techs because you're not going to produce every person that comes through your training program as a quality tech because they just don't fucking care. They have to care. And if someone who cares goes through their program, their skill set is limited. I'm not going to lie there, but the skill set they have is solid. It'll get done 95% of the cars on the market. Now, when you run into ones where you have to grab that other tool that you're not used to using, and now you're out there winging it around because you don't work for SafeLite anymore, you work for somebody else, that gets a little scary because they're only used to certain ones. And then, like the guy using the hammer to take the was that 1302, 1303 out. He was just like smashing it with the hammer, and the truck driver sitting in there. That was, I wouldn't have went that above and beyond. It's like, I don't have the tool to do this, man. Like, this isn't working. Like, I got to try to figure something out, or have a master tech or something come out there, or continue breaking that line to get it around there. But they definitely have made a lot of the right moves. I'm not gonna
Well,
lie.
they made all the moves. They literally set the bar
They
for
did.
auto glass.
They
I
did.
don't care how you say it. I don't care how you put it. I don't care how much you hate them. You have to respect them. You have to. The people
Yeah.
behind the operation are very intelligent. They implement great procedures, and it works. We
Yeah.
know it works. It's fucking proven.
Yeah.
That's
I
why they
mean,
have so much market share.
and they took over because the first model of the TPA was Guardian Glass. Was one of them. Was Guardian Glass, where they actually was the TPA plus they also had the glass portion of it. Was Guardian Glass. And Guardian Glass was huge in all kinds of different versions of glass, but auto glass as well, which SafeLite ended up buying Guardian. Um, and that transferred a lot of that leadership that understood, even though SafeLite was already starting to become the TPA for some of the other insurance companies, when they purchased Guardian is when it really started taking a hold because Guardian really understood that market and really understood how things work. So that's what led to their huge success in the TPAs, in my opinion.
Well, the thing is, what they did is they offered something that nobody else was offering. They solved people's problems. They solved the insurance company's
These
problems.
problems, yeah, because insurance companies had these
Glass,
huge CSR, like basically call centers. They had these huge call centers before, prior to this whole thing. Well, in order to save money, SafeLite was like, we have call centers. Why don't we just integrate? And then that's kind of how it happened. And then they took away the insurance companies. We don't have to have this call center for glass division only, because glass is is the largest claim that is filed into the insurance company. Collisions are there, but glass is one of the largest claims, if not the largest claim, that's filed into the insurance companies. So now they don't have to have all these huge call centers. They can shrink their call centers, which we watched State Farm do it right here in our backyard in New Albany. They went from this huge, like great big campus down to this small, and then down to even smaller. Like now they're just down to back to the local insurance reps in your area, the agents in your area. But SafeLite took on that workload that they would have had to, first off, the go to the agent, then the agent calls this call center, then the call center puts them in, this is your list of people you could go to, and then they hooked them up with the respected auto glass shops. And then SafeLite's like, you know what, we're just going to do it all. You give them this phone number, they'll think they're calling you, they're calling us, and then we handle it all. So it's
shit,
it's
if
a
it was me,
genius.
I'd do the same thing.
It's
But
genius.
it
It
goes
is.
back to the future, like automation. You don't need all these call centers. You don't need all these people. You don't need, and there is a generation that's still thirsty for phone calls, like speaking to somebody on the phone. But a millennial, Gen Z, they do everything on their smartphone. They don't want to talk to nobody. They don't
Hmm.
even call each other. Everybody uses a text message. It's crazy. Like I'll get like 35 text messages a day from different people. I can't tell you the amount of people who call me. The only
Hmm.
people call me are fucking telemarketers.
Yeah, yeah,
Legitimately.
yeah,
Legit. Now they
legitimately,
text
yeah,
you too.
yeah.
But it's your birthday, right? How many people actually pick up the phone and fucking call you? It's so
Um, Not very many.
not many. Okay, that's so impersonal. Like fucking text message is not the same as a phone call. What does it do to take 2 minutes out of your day to call somebody and wish them a happy birthday? Why do you text them? It's terrible, It's terrible.
It's the way we're moving to, and you're right. Like people, there are some that want to talk to people, but the newer generation's more phone based with the text and everything. But with AI coming, how is that going to shrink the market when the customer's saying, "I want to use Mike's Auto Glass," and they're like, AI's like, "Well, here's our list of people you can use." You know what I mean? Like it's really going to
I
restrict it.
think this whole landscape of insurance and TPAs is looks like it's changing in a sense.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know where it's going. I would like to see what happens by next year. There's a lot of rumors swirling around the mill about changes, and those changes could be really good or they could be really bad. We don't know yet. So until it happens, I'm really not going to comment on it. But just going back to the whole SafeLite thing, you know, when the ADOS came, they were overwhelmed because they were doing a shitload of ADOS. I think like they do like a majority of their work is definitely insurance. We all know that. And they were going to that model of like, all right, we need a building, right? We need to do the ADOS in the building. We can't do it on the road. And then they pivoted, and for them to pivot takes time. There's a lot of fucking people to turn around in
There's a
different direction.
lot.
If just think about how many shops they have, they need to buy tablets. Like how many fucking tablets are you ordering? Like it's a lot. Think about just setting the tablet up, putting in like your activation code. Like how many fucking tablets would you do? How many
Yeah.
stands are getting assembled? So them going, that whole brick and mortar model, now they realize like you could go mobile. Obviously they have mobile stand now, right? And
Yeah.
I've been talking about this since 2019. I've gotten so much shit from fucking everybody about doing recals outside. But my whole theory was a controlled environment. They never stated what a fucking controlled environment was, except flat ground, correct lighting. They never said it had to be in a fucking building. It didn't have to have four walls, yellow backgrounds, white backgrounds, green backgrounds. There was no specification on that, right? There were suggestions at some
Hmm.
point or another, but there was no specification. So I said, fuck this. I've always been a fucking underdog. I've always been a cowboy. I hate following the fucking rules. I love to think outside the box. So we started doing it outside. And guess what? When we were shooting Subarus at 99, 100, you dingbats in fucking shops with your white walls, gray walls, 7 backgrounds, perfect lighting, fucking LEDs from the top to the bottom, exactly measured to specification. You couldn't even fucking shoot a fucking 86 on a Subaru. So what does that tell you? Natural lighting, the cameras like natural lighting more. I'm sure people are gonna fucking be boiling over this, but realistically, I was fucking right. If SafeLite's doing it, now everybody's gonna do it, right? Why not?
Well,
So we're here at that point.
the SafeLite new target stand, the way it attaches to the vehicle, so it'll get the pitch of the vehicle, it'll get, it'll kind of align itself. The digital target is, along the lines of the Air Pro, which, I guess
That's the future. It's the
yeah,
future.
it's
I'm
the
telling you,
future,
everybody's going to go into this digital
because,
target.
well,
It
because
works, right?
Autel's using the new one with the big screen
Yeah,
on
but you're
one
going
of
to tell
yeah,
they're gonna make that
oh,
smaller one day and release that car.
yeah,
It's just you have to adapt, right? So the market is craving something, right? And companies want to go mobile. The customer wants you to go mobile. They don't want to be inconvenienced. They don't want to drop that car off at a shop. They don't want to leave it at a dealership. They want. I mean, there's dealers around me offering mobile fucking service, brakes,
yeah,
fucking tire
yeah,
changes.
yeah.
It's
Mobile
genius.
mechanics
I mean, it's
are
just
huge.
Jeff Bezos set the stage for convenience, and we're at that where everybody wants convenience. It saves a lot of time. I don't go fucking to Costco. I don't go to Costco every weekend. You know what I do? I
Order
order
it
on
and it's
Costco
delivered.
online.
It's
It
delivered
might
to your
cost me
house.
an extra couple bucks, but guess what? I saved like 2 hours of my time going in the store, finding a parking spot. Come out, there's a fucking ding on my door. I gotta go put the card away. There's fucking 400 people online.
Yeah.
Just send somebody to do it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm creating a revenue stream for somebody. Fuck it, why not? It's the same
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah. No, around here it's Sam's Club, and the same thing where you just order it and they bring it to your house, and people with kids and people with busy lives and people who just don't want to do anything, that's amazing. Like, it's something that we all do. Well, most of us, I would imagine, do. Uh, yeah, it's the convenience. So yeah, calibrations are going to become more and more mobile. That it's not going to destroy the brick and mortar though. That brick and mortar has that stronghold of hometown feel.
Well, I don't think brick and mortar is going anywhere. But what I'm saying is for them to make the decision that they were going to put technicians on the road to do ADOS. Now, remember,
Mhm.
they got to understand they're not going to do as many units. They're not going to
Mhm.
be as productive. Things are going to take more time. A job that would typically take an hour now might take 2 hours.
But somebody sitting in an office making those decisions at that level, why so many techs that work for them don't like them, do not understand that. They're still going to give them 7 on the road mobile to do
They understand. Trust me,
repair.
they understand. The
Ah,
people,
do
the
you?
people driving that are not fucking stupid. They understand, but they're gonna push the envelope as much as they can. Why
Mm,
wouldn't they? If
yeah,
they have the 7 jobs, because you know what, there's gonna be those techs that are efficient, understand how to get
yeah,
shit done, and they're gonna knock those 7 jobs out. So think about how profitable is that truck that day. So
yeah.
don't say those fucking people don't know nothing. They know every fucking thing going on. They have meetings about this every day.
But
There's
then
fucking
who's the
strategy.
how do you build those efficient techs? Because I feel
Well, you
at
know
one
what?
point I was.
You hire 150 fucking trainees at a time, and
Yep.
if you get three, you're winning.
All
If you
right.
get three, you're winning. It works. Most people are still thinking like a technician. I'm telling you, these higher ups, they're
Yeah.
not as fucking dumb as you think they are. They're
Yeah.
not as large as they are because they're dumb.
Yeah.
People are going to make assumptions about everything. People are going to find ways to complain about everything. Even if conditions were perfect, routing was perfect, parts were perfect, recals were perfect, people are just not satisfied.
Yeah.
And when they complain on these Facebook groups, which we see, is because they just want someone to hear them. Because I'm sure their fucking wife or their girlfriend or their cousin or their mother don't want to fucking hear it. They need to complain to somebody, right? And then on top of it, half of them post anonymously. So you know they're bitches, and they're just going to complain and go to work anyway. So
Yeah.
fucking let them talk.
Yeah.
Open mic, baby. Open
Yeah.
mic.
Open mic. Go ahead and talk.
But
And I do have that driven technician mindset. 100%. You are 100% correct because I spent a lot of years there, and I will never think. I don't know that it's going to take a lot for me to change that mindset of technician first, just because that's where I'm at.
so society has changed. The requirements for a job have changed. Because of internet, social media influences, people don't want to work as much as they. But when I did work for people, I would feel horrible when I took off.
Oh my
Like
God.
I was doing
Yeah.
something wrong. So,
Yeah.
but I've always had that mentality. Now I understand that not everybody should have that mentality because work life balance, family. But half these guys screaming about fucking family on the weekends are the same guys getting fucking high, fucking snorting coke, fucking getting banged up, drunk, gambling, fucking sports. So don't tell me you're spending time with your family. No, you're getting fucked up. Don't
Mm-hmm.
pull that shit. You're a glass
Yeah.
guy. We know. We fucking know. Fridays the first stop is at the liquor store. Stop with the bullshit. Don't try to pin on that work life balance on the weekends. Who the fuck made up weekends? Henry Ford made up weekends in
Yes. Yeah.
1926. It's a fucking word. It is if you do it on a Monday or you do it on a fucking Saturday, what's the difference? It's still just a fucking day.
It's
That
just a
shit drives
day.
me crazy. But going back to the SafeLite thing before I fucking go off on another topic, you know, SafeLite is getting back to the nitty gritty. They're fucking out. They got salespeople on the ground. They got boots on the ground. They're going around. They're getting back into the commercial work. They're doing all those things, right? There's people posting some ridiculous shit on fucking, excuse me, on the Facebook groups saying that SafeLite is fucking sending them fake phone call. It's, guys, like, I know you need to have some kind of reasoning for why your business sucks because either you don't know how to market, you're not spending enough money, you don't have boots on the ground. You cannot blame SafeLife for every fucking problem you have. That's like blaming the government that your life sucks. Literally, we still live in America. It's still free market trade. You can work 24/7, 7 days a week if you want. Fuck. Fucking God's getting back at me for cursing. But you still have opportunity every time you wake up. And, it does, you can't make excuses. People that make excuses is because they're uncomfortable doing certain things. That's all the excuses. So for a guy to say, I'm comfortable because I don't need as much as this, and I make just enough to get by, and I'm happy. It's bullshit. Who the fuck is happy just getting by? No one is just happy getting by. People say, I don't need to be rich. No, but there's nothing like being fucking comfortable, right? And you need to have a purpose in life, and everybody has their own purpose, but I don't want to hear other people, because they're scared to take that risk and they're scared to get uncomfortable, to try to influence other people, when there's other people that might have more of a personality like me, where they're a go-getter and they want to either create generational wealth, or they want to see their family have trust set up, and they want people around them to be able to enjoy what they built and share that with people. That doesn't make you a bad person. There's nothing wrong with being a capitalist. I am a fucking capitalist through and through, a conservative capitalist.
No, but also what you're saying though is there's nothing wrong with that person that just wants to be mediocre.
Absolutely
because
not. But
so many people out there that are. But what you said there with the fuck, my brain just kind of shut off there, Mike. Oh my God, I've fucking had a point and I fucking lost it. Go ahead and keep talking, because I fucking lost what I was going to say.
Well, I'm the only one fucking talking. I feel like I take over. I feel bad.
No, definitely. No, this is honestly, I'm sitting here listening. This is gold. This is what people want.
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with no, there is something wrong with being mediocre. I don't care. That's maybe my opinion. That's my confidence speaking. It's not my fucking ego. So don't think it's my ego. But why would you want to be mediocre? God puts us on this planet for a reason.
I know what I was going to say. Think about this. People who retire and don't find a hobby or something else to do part-time, they die. Well, we have to have a purpose, and we have to have a purpose in life. Within 5 years, it's like they've done studies. If you don't have a hobby or something to take over your time, a nonprofit, a part-time job, something with a bunch of projects, because once you lose that purpose of movement, of getting up every day, of going and doing something, of doing, that purpose, then you just die. And that's what I was getting at. And thank you for saying that, because I just remembered it.
So what stays in motion stays in motion.
Yes.
So, you could take a Toyota Camry that's got 500,000 miles on it. You maintained it, it runs. Mm-hmm. You take a Toyota Camry that's been sitting for 25 years in a garage with 2,000 miles. Guess what? It's not the same.
It doesn't. Even if it starts, it's not moving the same way.
Stays in motion, and that's and then it just goes back to I guess I'm passionate about people not taking opportunity. Listen, I don't come from a great background. I didn't have a great childhood. I definitely went through a lot of shit. I'm a person that looks towards the future. I don't hold myself back in the past. I don't live in the past. But I created a lot of opportunity because I wanted to. Because I did not want to be the way I didn't want to be in the same situation as I was when I grew up, which I didn't have control of at that time. But once I got to the age of, hey, I'm going to have my own thoughts and I'm going to have my own actions, I started to change my ways. And I also did go through a pretty fucked up phase in my 20s where, I was putting girls and partying and hanging out with the boys before what my real purpose was. And it took me, a long time, it took me till my late 20s to figure out what I really wanted to do. And it was because I was drowning myself in alcohol that I didn't realize what I was really good at. And I've had this entrepreneurial trait since I was a child. It's just something that's just built in you. I think it's in your DNA. But it took me a long time to tap into it because I was so sidetracked with the chasing the girls and the clubs and the bottle service and thinking I had money and it was bad branding. And granted, I had a job where I was doing pretty well for someone in my 20s, but it's not what it is today. But it took me all that experience and failure to realize what I really wanted to do. But I get aggravated with people when they just sell themselves short because anybody can unlock that potential. Anybody. And I want to see people do better. I want to see people better themselves. And it bothers me when they just stay in the same place because they're just scared. You don't have to be scared. There's people like me out there that are willing to help you and try to guide you in the right direction. And I do help so many people behind the scenes.
You do. You do.
And no one realizes, and everybody I give off this like fucking arrogant ego condescending asshole, and I'm not. I'm the total opposite of that. So I help so many people and I want to help people.
That's because we're Yankees. Okay,
Yeah,
we're Northerners.
I'm from New York City.
Yeah,
dude, this fucking accent hits hard.
Yeah,
it hits.
It's
I'd rather have a New York accent than a Boston. I ain't saying car. Like that shit is weird. When I hear someone up in fucking Massachusetts that a fucking car, I'm like, no, this fucking guy's a weirdo. They talk about fucking making sandwiches and shit. I'm like, you don't even know what a fucking hero is. You don't know what a beef patty with cheese with cocoa bread is from the fucking bodega. You don't know about that life.
Yeah.
You're from New York. You know about that. And I don't know what a cheesesteak is. I got to go to Philly. But,
yeah.
Just going back to like, you need to unlock your potential. And just, I just hate people like just beating themselves down thinking they can't do nothing. Like literally, if you put your mind to anything, it can be accomplished. We live in a day and age that there's just so much opportunity. There's so many ways to scale your auto glass business. There's so many ways to gain business. And it's not all about business, but there's so many ways to just do things. And I always go back to business as a reference just because that's just like my thing. But, I definitely see a change in like people's perspectives in the sense of like more people are bringing God into their life. And I think it's needed. I'm a Catholic. I'm still a Catholic. I do go to church, and I think it's really important because I think people fell out of touch. But that kind of all aligns with everything going on. So like, we're put on this earth, we're created, we're dropped on this earth, and like we have unlimited potential, but it's only what you want to make out of it, right? So like in my theory on the devil's the one that holds you back from bettering yourself. The devil wants you to drown in alcohol. The devil wants you to hang out with the wrong people. That's what he wants to do. That's my insight on what the devil. I don't think of like demons. I think of like him putting himself into somebody's head and keeping that person down and not letting them grow or have a better future or get ahead. That's what I see. And I think too many people accepted that at one point or another in the last, just say, 10 to 15 years because things have changed a lot. And you could see it on, the way people are protesting and I don't want to get into politics, but all the shit going on. We all know. It's on the news every day. But let's get off the subject because fucking I could go on for days. And
You unplugged
for a second. I fucking whacked the cord, but we're at like fucking 52 minutes.
Yeah.
So let's go back to technicians, right? So right now, in today's day and age, the technicians are aging out.
Yes.
Right? There's not enough technicians replacing the technicians that are aging out. And now, on top of all the automation going on, now we're going to have a shortage of labor. Right? Do you agree with me?
I agree with you 100%.
So I think that like
more
the
of us are starting
like
to do
every 6 techs retiring, like 0.5 technician replaces them. So there's a huge opportunity, people.
Yeah.
Huge.
Well, also, I don't know, is there a bunch of us retiring because of the fact that we don't have someone to step in and replace us? There's a lot of people who have that work pride that, it's hard to step away when there's nobody to fill your spot. You're like, man, I'm going to put them in a bad situation. They took care of me all these years. And, like going back to what you said, you felt terrible calling off. When you call off, you don't fuck management. You fuck the guy you're working with in the trenches. So that's the person that you screw over. So calling off is like one of those big things that is huge with me. I can't stand it. Like if you're going to plan a day off, perfect. But also if you're getting ready to age out and you're getting ready to retire, you're getting ready to and you can't pass your knowledge on to somebody else, you don't feel comfortable leaving, you're stuck there, man. You are, because you're just going to have to keep putting in glass because there's nobody to take your spot.
So that's what happens with these like owner operators, like a husband and wife team, right? It's like, they don't build anything to sell. Nothing's really scalable. They never upgrade into the future, like into any kind of technology. They never really move forward. Great example, like today, these guys posting like they got their first recal system. I'm like, fuck, bro, dude, that's 10 years ago. Like, Like, we're not going to give you a fucking medal or a monument because you got a fucking MA600. Like, people were paying like 30 grand for MA600 fucking couple of years ago. Today they're like 10,000 out the door. You know,
Yeah.
like, you're not special. Like, you don't need a fucking award because you just got an ADAS. Like, no, now you might actually complete a job. Because you know what? ADAS is part of the job now. So, like, start to finish, unless you do ADAS, you're not completing a job. So, for all the technicians that say you don't have to do it, I subcontracted, you're not a real technician. You're an installer in my eyes. Just saying.
Well, hey,
Right?
that's that. Yeah.
But the aging out of the technicians is a problem because no one's replacing them. So, what happens? Who replaces them? How do we get people to replace them? We could go to trade schools, like which people talk about. We could have schools with hands-on training. But the problem is there's so many people that don't even really know the industry that they can never even find out if they're passionate about it, in a sense.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Mike. Like, how do we get it in front of the people that are coming either out of the adult education program that are still young, or coming out of high school trade schools that are young enough to understand? Like, because I tell you what, a good body tech makes a great glass guy because of the attention to detail. A bad body tech makes a terrible glass guy because of the lack of attention to detail. But if you can snag like the top performer at your local high school's, body
There
shop,
is no body, guys. There
I
is no
know,
body, guys. We
I
think we
know,
have a shortage. They have more of a shortage than we do. I mean, you could go in. All right, so last year we did there's like this
because it's not
Northeast.
glamorized. It's not
No.
glamorized.
It has nothing to do with glamorized. It's like you
What?
actually got to work with your hands. It has nothing to do
Eh.
with being glamorized. It's about people don't want to work with their hands. Why would they work with their hands when they can do it on the computer? When you got fucking all these coaches and influencers and all these bullshit on social media coming across your feed. Oh, I'll show you how to drop ship on Amazon and you'll make $1 million this month. And blah, 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 blah. People feed into that shit because most people are sheep, right? So they feed into the bullshit. The body, this is the best fucking example I could give you. Last year, I'll never forget because I was moving the same fucking weekend that this happened. My wife was pissed. I sent the movers. I'm at the show. So there's a Northeast Body Shop show. All the vendors come, frame machines, all that bullshit. The show has gotten smaller and smaller every year. I remember the first time I went about 10 years ago, fucking Equalizer was there with their big red fucking van. Like, I mean, it was like a thing. Like, it was like a pretty decent show. It had a big following in the Northeast. So I got a booth this year. It was fucking dead. Not only was the show really small, it was dead. For instance, AirPro was there, and I grabbed a couple tablets from them because I was trying to work with them just to fill some coverage. They couldn't even get the fucking Augie to work at the fucking show. The Wi-Fi wasn't strong enough. It was just funny because it's just a thought that pops out my head.
Yeah.
Nick from Autobolt was there, but his father's like in the aftermarket like body world, like, so Nick was there, so I was hanging out with Nick. Thank God he was there, otherwise there was like no one there that I knew. And then I knew a couple of guys from AirPro, but just going back to the show, it was fucking dead. There was no one there. It had one busy afternoon, and then the 3 days, it was fucking terrible. And everybody walking around there is fucking 60 plus years old. I mean, guys with their hands fucking crippled, hunched over. And those are the guys that own the body shops today. There's no one taking them over. And then their kids. We're forcing all our kids. They're forcing kids to go to college to get a good job, get a degree, and you're going to fucking be successful, which is complete bullshit. It's, if you ever read fucking Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like, he screams about that fucking 30 years ago. It's the fucking truth. So the people that own these body shops can't even give them to their kids, but their kids are fucking corporate people. And they'll never understand.
Yeah, they're not there to take
So
over.
everybody's aging out. So like, how do we fix that problem? Now, is it education? To educate people? You have to market it? There is some schools out there, there's a handful of them. I think it's great, but I don't think, you could give somebody the basics, but till you're actually in the field every day for at least 6 months to a year, then that's when you start to gain real experience. I don't think,
The year mark is when you really start to, because you can fall into a good rhythm by month 3, but your first year is going to decide whether you make it or you
I
don't.
think the first 3 months is going to tell you if you're going to make it or not.
Okay.
Right? The first 3 months, really 6 to 8 weeks can say if you're going to make it or not. If a guy can understand on how to pull a windshield out of a rack without breaking it, clean the glass, put on a molding correctly, prep the glass correctly, that's like the number one thing.
Yeah.
That's a start, right? If someone understands how to take a cowl off and he can understand that this is going to be a 14 millimeter, that's going to be a 17 millimeter, this is going to be a 12 millimeter, a 13 millimeter, if he could understand the variables of removing that stuff when taking off cal, he's going to succeed,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah.
But what happens is you go to one of these schools, you get trained for a week, and then what happens? One of your first jobs, fucking rubber set.
Yeah, you would then the trainers get the phone calls. Like I've gotten phone calls. I get phone calls, because when I was doing the week long trainings, we would cover gasket sets briefly, but it wasn't as in depth as getting your hands in there and getting, the windshield time. But yeah, you would get that phone call and then you're trying to walk someone through an install on the phone. That is one of the
But it's
hardest
not meant to
things.
do that. But what's
No.
scary, right? So what's scary is this person has some kind of entrepreneurial trade. He said, "Oh shit, I can make money installing glass. It's pretty lucrative." He goes to one of these classes. He opens up his LLC. Next thing you know, he buys a van because he has some liquid. He has capital to do it. He buys the tools, and then after 1 week of class, this guy's going out and saying he's a glass guy. I've seen people post this,
Mhm.
right? Have you? Because I
Mhm.
have.
No, I have. Yeah. No, I've been in those. I've taught those people. I'm not gonna
It's
lie. I've taught those
dangerous.
people.
It's fucking dangerous.
It is dangerous. 100%. It is dangerous. You arm them with as much of the knowledge of how to do it correctly as you possibly can, but you can't put them in a situation in a week that is going to be needed through all the ebbs and flows of auto glass, all the different situations you find yourself in. I mean, you're a lot of times you're focused strictly on windshields. You don't even get into somebody's door glass or quarter glasses that are movable or mechanically fastened, back glasses on Fords or the one you run into that the jackass on a Kia decided that the bolt-in quarter glass
The glue in the quarter
they're going to
glass.
glue the motherfucker in because they
I
just
put
don't
glue
know
in one
any
of those
better.
Ford back glasses with the
Oh
bolts. Oh,
Jesus
you shit! I've
Christ,
seen
man!
that.
I've ran into yeah, I've seen that
Well, how
too.
about
So.
how about you take your first job and it's a 2000 Dodge Ram,
Mhm.
a 2008 Dodge Ram Power
And power
Slider.
slider, and then you charge them $50 because you don't understand the
Yeah,
market, and then
yeah. You're
you're
like, oh yeah,
3 hours in,
the glass cost me like 300. I'll charge you like a fucking
450.
450. It's my
Yeah,
first job, and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
meanwhile I'm
and they're
screaming
stuck
at my
there.
fucking CS.
Yeah,
You charge like 1,500 for that job minimum.
yeah, because the
That's
back
like
seat's got to come out, and interior's got to come out, and
how
you got to
about
really
the
pay attention.
Ridgeline back glass?
Oh, Ridgeline
Like
back
they
glass.
don't.
Yeah,
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 I mean, I won't
yeah,
even do a Ridgeline back
yeah,
glass. It's
yeah.
a whole fucking day thing.
Well, I tell you that I agree with you. There has to be something in the market, and the 1 week schools give is a good. I back them. I
It's a
back them
base.
100%.
It's a base. I back
It's
them
a
too. It's just
base.
a
It's a
base.
base. So anybody who's going through there, in my opinion, should be technicians or CSR. If you're going to just open, if you're going to be a one-man show technician and open, that's when it's scary. You're going to work for somebody. There's still going to be a senior tech in there that can guide you. Maybe they're not doing it the correct way that you've been taught or the way you've been taught. There's many ways to do this job correctly. There's many ways to do this job incorrectly, but there's many ways to do this job correctly. You're getting one take on a correct way to do a windshield. Um, but there's always a senior tech if you go work for somebody or your business sending somebody to the school or having one of the instructors come into your location and train for a week. There's always going to be that senior tech to fall back on when they have that question of, hey, how does the molding come off on this Explorer? The two-piece moldings, on the Explorers that was giving everybody trouble for all those years. There's going to be somebody to jump in there and give them that knowledge nugget, or they're going to have to call their trainer back because, mostly every trainer school that I'm associated with, I know you give your personal number out and you field phone calls all day to try to help people out with, real quick, like, hey, 5 minutes, hey, I was in such and such class, what about this? So you just give them as much information as you possibly can over the phone because it's hard to walk somebody through something remotely, but it can be done, but it's hard. Um, so that the 1 week school to send somebody out and being doing it on their own is dangerous, but it does happen. I'm not going to try to sit here and pretend that it
No, it
doesn't because it
doesn't.
happens.
Listen, I respect it because I like the hustle. But
Mm-mm,
the thing is, they got to understand this. Like, it's not a skill that's acquired in a week.
mm-mm,
I don't care if you're a body guy. I don't care who you are. It takes time, but you got to understand there's so many variables to how it gets done.
mm-hmm.
In today's day and age, if you're working on new cars, I mean, you got it easy. A lot of molding
Yeah,
was bonded.
yeah,
You weren't taking off, Honda Accord molding. They
yeah.
sucked,
Uh-huh.
right? With those little fucking nipple
Fucking
clip
little
thingies.
fingers.
You know,
Yeah.
like if you didn't have the right pick tool, you weren't getting off. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like you always got like and it was always like the last one that'd be stuck. And of course, like
Yeah.
it's hot and your arm's burning on the windshield, and you're like the fucking sun is glaring, the
You're
fucking sweat's dripping down your face, and
dripping
you're
down
like
your
trying to
face.
get to that one pin, and you're like, it finally goes.
Yeah.
Or like you look at like moldings on like an old like GLE, and you're like, holy shit, these things are complicated. Meanwhile, they snap right off.
Was it clips? The Eclipse ones as they're glued urethane on and they got like pins through them. The Eclipse moldings, dude. I
Oh my
remember I've
god.
watched people destroy those that have been doing this for years and years and years. Just destroy them. You know,
There's
they were.
nothing like moldings like those Nissans. I remember 2510s, like the old Pathfinders had like that metal molding in them.
Yeah,
Remember that? Like
yeah,
that like metal lining
yeah.
in the winter when it's
Oh,
cold on the Northeast, dude.
oh,
Fucking
forget
torture.
it, forget
You're
it.
heating up moldings on the dashboards. Like that's why
Oh,
Universal got so big. And like
yeah,
you know, I gotta say when me and Steve started like when Steve was doing it by himself, and I used to jump on his truck like to help him like back in like 2008, 2009. I mean, like you would get pretty crafty with
yeah.
105, 107.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Yes.
upside down,
Down,
inside
inside
out, you know,
out. Yeah.
mitering. Like,
Yeah.
you would get really crafty. Like,
Because those
people are
moldings
not as
sucked.
crafty as they were. Like,
You had to be
like,
MacGyver. You had to fucking
oh
be
no,
MacGyver back in the
yeah,
day. You had to figure it
yeah.
out because you
You
were
needed
you were
dum dum. You had to have dum dum with you, butyl. You needed
yeah
butyl. Like, it just.
you
But when it was cold, I was miserable.
oh
It was
dude
miserable.
you couldn't sell a job and say you couldn't do it. That was an honor thing. Like, oh, I couldn't get that job done. No, you got the job done. And you know, it a lot of times, 90% of the times with the moldings, it looked better with Universal
Yeah.
as long as you could, like you said, miter the corners correctly and make sure that you kind of glued it a little bit and did this and this. So you had to figure it out. But you're right. Northeast, like our winters get pretty bad here, but nothing like what you guys get.
No, you get worse winters than me. I think you might get
Well,
worse winters than me.
we get pretty bad winters, but
You're like fucking Canada. Like,
when it's cold, it's cold. And when it's cold, shit does not work properly. And it
everything
doesn't want to
hurts.
come
Your
off.
fingers
Oh,
hurt.
your
The
fingers
guns don't
hurt.
work.
And you're jumping back in the van just to get a
How
little
about
bit
when
of
you like you
relief.
go to like you're trying to take like you're ratcheting something and like your arm slips and you hit your hand on something?
My God,
Oh,
fuck it. Oh, and
that's
it
fucking
just stings
horrible.
and it burns.
So,
And you're
I never
like,
forget. It was so cold one day. Me and Steve, when we first started, we had this fucking S10 pickup truck with the
yeah.
8-foot bed. The heat. It was so cold out that you could not feel the heat coming out of the truck. Right, the truck couldn't get hot enough. That's how fucking cold it
Yeah,
was.
old it was.
And we had like 200 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag in that S10 pickup. It was crazy. And I'll never forget, we got out of the car to do a 1580. And we were both like fucking shivering. And like,
Yeah.
I was bitching out. I wasn't going to lie.
Yeah,
Steve
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Steve's in there with the corded extractor, like,
Yeah.
and he's spraying glass cleaner. And as he's spraying the glass cleaner, it's freezing. Yo, it was fun. And like, I don't even, and you know, of course we were using 428.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So we put the windshield in, and this is going back to, you know, when we first started.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking customer calls the next day, and the windshield slid like 3 inches, and we taped the fuck out of that windshield.
Yeah, because it couldn't stick to anything because it was frozen.
Yeah, and it was 428, like, you know, but the
Yeah.
thing is, like, we didn't know any better because we
Yeah.
weren't educated on what was the proper urethane. Right?
Educated. You weren't
And
proper.
back in the day, all right, what was the cheapest shit? 428 used to be like fucking $2.95 a tube. Maybe even cheaper. I think we used to pay for a whole box, like a box of 10. It was like fucking $29 or something like that. It was cheap.
Dude.
It was fucking cheap. But that's
One
when
of-
Sika had like that P to G, the Titan, and that shit would fucking cure like a fucking brick.
Yeah.
And if you had
Yeah.
to take something back out afterwards, you know, I'd never forget. Like, we did a Prius, and like 8 months later, we went to do the Prius again, and the fucking urethane was it was cold out. The urethane was so hard that the fucking cold knife blade was like ripping through the top of the glass. Oh my god.
Yeah.
The fucking
Oh,
stories.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because we were using ASAP at that point. Yeah. By the
ASAP was
time,
fancy. That shit was expensive. We had
ASAP was
heaters and
awesome.
we, had,
Yeah.
no, we were primalist.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
primalist.
ASAP was one of my. But dude, I tell you what, when it's cold outside and then you fucking fall, like getting out of your van or turning to get a tool and there's icy everywhere, and then you just whoop, and then down you go and you fall. And it's like, so urethane companies, they're slick, right? So you can use your urethane down to 0 degrees, but our primers will only work to 30. And it's like, well, I gotta prime shit, dude. Like it's part of the system. Like, and your glass cleaner is freezing, like you're talking about. So then you run into if you prep your glass at the shop in the morning and you put it in a warm van and then you pull it out when it's cold, then it gets all covered again with freaking condensation. So then
Yeah,
you're having to try to clean it again, and everything's freezing. And yeah, so the cold weather's bad, and we've dealt with it. The hot's bad too. But I'm telling you what, for me, I hate the cold. And as soon as it gets to 50, I'm wearing a hoodie. As soon as it gets to 40, I've got long johns on. It gets to 30, I'm in full coveralls that are heated by Milwaukee with big old socks. And once it drops below that 30, I am like crying. Like Big James used to make fun of me all the time because he don't like the cold. He's one of those Nordic motherfucking white dudes that came across on the first fucking boat. Um, so like, so he loved the fucking cold, and I'm just like, I'm fucking hating it. So he'd always make fun of me, dude. Like, because as soon as it gets just a
I
little
could
bit
do the
cold,
cold. I could do the
oh,
cold.
I cannot. I'm just crying. I'm like, it's
The
fucking cold.
humidity kills me.
Oh, I love the
There's
humidity. I'm
nothing
cool.
like working like fucking sun's blazing. It's like 1 o'clock, August, fucking 100%
Open,
humidity, like that
you
New
open the
York, like,
door and it
oh,
blows out at you. It's like, yeah, I
dude,
love
my
the
glasses would
humidity.
fog. I'd get out
Fog
of the
up,
car and
yeah.
the AC. If I was, I usually, I'm like a seasonal glasses wearer. So like I'll wear glasses all winter, and then like I get throw my contacts. I saw it with the contacts back in like April. I give my eyes a break for a couple months, but I'm fucking this. I got this cold I can't kick. But yeah, like the fucking humidity kills me.
I
But
don't
I think
mind
we should
humidity.
start wrapping this up a little
Yeah,
bit. But I just wanted
absolutely.
to touch on one other fucking subject
Yeah,
because
one
my
subject, then
emails.
then we'll come
One
back
other
on
thing.
in a
So
couple
social
weeks.
media. So like,
Yep.
I think social media is dying in the sense of, guys are finally, or companies. I always say guys, but people are finally getting on social media now in the auto glass world, and they're obviously trying to get attention. They got YouTube channels. I'm sure there's other podcasts I probably just never came
Mhm.
across.
Yep.
You are late to the party. You are late. That fucking is gone. It's done. It's over with. It's fucking train has left the station. Social media, because of automation, and this is my personal opinion, I think is going to have less attention because people are going to start to crave human interaction.
But you can't
And I
take
think
away
that's where
one
the
side too much, and then yeah, you can't lean
I
it
think
so
that's
far.
where
Yeah.
I think the next 5 years we're going to get back to communicating like humans because everything's going to be AI and automated. You're not even going to know it's real.
That's
So
the fucking
people
scary part.
so people are going to crave human interaction, which I feel like that sometimes now. Like
I do.
there's
I
nothing
love it.
like,
Like, yeah.
I could be on I have this my single office and I'm by myself most of the time. And then like I go out and I leave the hallway just to go to like the lunchroom here just to like interact with somebody because
Yeah.
it's like I'm fucking on a computer all day.
Huh?
So I think social media has created this perception to people that it's really easy to do anything and you don't have to put in the work to get rich and you don't need to put in the work to become a great auto glance installer. You don't need to put into work to put into work to be a great CSR or a business owner or any of those things. And it gives this false narrative that I think is really showing more than ever because people will rent a car, go and stand in front of it, and be like, "Look, I'm going to sell you a fucking coaching program."
Mm-hmm.
Touching on that subject, having a really good consultant or someone that could come in and take a look at, and this is for people that have businesses to look at your business to analyze it. There is people out there that are really good at doing that, but I would say that 99% of them are not. And I know there's some kind of trendiness going through our industry with this business coaching stuff, and it's all bullshit. You need to vet those people. It all comes from social media. That's like where it comes from, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
half of us, realistically, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with James if it wasn't for social media, right? I wouldn't have all these friends all over the United States
In
in
the
our
world,
industry
yeah.
if it wasn't for social media.
Yep.
So I think it's such a great platform to interact with humans, but then in another sense, it creates a lot of false things that steer people in the wrong direction because a lot of people are they have a hard time making decisions, and they let other people make decisions for them. And I think social media is one of those factors, because like I know people that are influenced by ads they see, like, oh, try this new molecule spray because it's fucking gonna heal all your wounds, and then go and buy it, right? So social media is if you don't use it the correct way, you become a consumer. And that's why when you have a conversation with a friend or your wife or whoever the fuck you're hanging out with, and then all of a sudden it pops up on your phone, is because that's what they're doing. They're training the consumer. They could pick and choose when they want you to buy. So right now, all the ads will ramp up, all the YouTube ads ramp up. The people creating videos on YouTube create more videos this fourth quarter because the advertising goes up, so their CPC is higher. They get paid more money by the company's advertising. So it's just consumers, just so you buy. That's
Yeah.
cool. But
The thing that it gets me going around on the autoglass sites here recently is, well, it comes up as an advertisement, is there's people trying to sell ways to get leads and all this stuff, and they're using
there's
other
like three
people.
guys, right?
They're using other people's installation videos. Like the one guy's using Otis's video, and then there's another guy using someone else's like video, and I'm like, wait a second. First of all, those aren't yours. Second of all, like, you're trying to sell me that you can get me leads, and these people are clearly out there on their personal channel showing the hustle is getting them their work. It's yeah, like you're not even showing me anything that's your actual doing.
Because people don't want to put the work in, so they look for the next best thing. So me and you might spot that these people are a fraud, right? These marketing people, these leads people. Digital marketing is probably one of the sleaziest business interactions I've ever dealt with in all of my business. It's always digital marketing, people that handle leads, that build websites, SEO. To me, they're the sleaziest people. That's just from my experience. The thing is, there's a lot of people now that they maybe don't have common sense, or they don't have the noodle to realize like this could possibly be a scam, and they get taken. Their money gets taken.
Obviously, the scammers wouldn't be doing it if it didn't work, at least on some
Exactly.
scale. You
Why
try to
would they
sell
be
it to 1,000
They wouldn't be
people.
spending the
Yeah.
money on the ad spend if it didn't, if they weren't getting leads out of it. But it's sick because people are so gullible. They don't. They think no one will do them wrong. And I would say a majority of people in this world are good. We only hear about the bad people. I think overall most people are good.
And they
But
want the best for themselves and other people too. Like in general, you hear about the narcissist, you hear about the serial killers, you hear about the bad people in the world because they're publicized. Because I do believe most people have empathy, most people have the compassion of being a good person. There are those few that
we just don't
don't.
hear about it. We just don't
Exactly.
hear about it, right?
Yep.
So like you can make one Facebook group post, right, that people don't like, and all
Mhm.
of a sudden you're a monster.
Yeah. You're a monster. Yeah.
They always will take the negative before they take the positive. They'll see negative before they take positive.
And
Just
also
what I grew up.
there's some false bravado out there. People that are posting that negative shit for the simple fact of posting that negative shit and getting those clicks. And when you know that person in real life, you're like, you're not that way. You're overreaching a little bit. You know what I mean? Like that's not who you are.
Well, a lot of people feel comfortable being disrespectful over the internet because there's no consequences.
Boom,
Now,
like Mike Tyson said.
back in the day, that shit would never fly.
Well, no, because you're afraid to get
You get
punched in the
punched in
mouth.
your face. You get punched
Yeah.
in your face.
Or at least getting pushed, or at least threatened
Or
with
something.
violence. Yeah,
Yeah,
you threatened with,
something.
yeah.
Something.
Now it's a little different.
Now it's like they could just run their trap and nothing ever happens.
I'm so surprised though with I know we're gonna get off, but I'm so surprised with kids now, like the younger kids, not I'm say kids, but like half our age.
We feel like kids, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still feel like a kid.
Yeah, I still feel like kids. I still feel like that 20-year-old kid. My body doesn't work the same. But we were lucky to grow up in that world where if you said, which we did, I was a mouthy motherfucker, so I got in a lot of fights and got beat up a lot because it's like, oh, say something. Oh yeah, well I fucked your mom, and the next thing you know, people are fighting. Now you say it on the internet, and it's like, oh, because there's no consequence. Like no one's going to come beat you up, and if you do, you're the bad guy for beating that
They don't
person
even
up.
say that no more.
Yeah,
They don't even say that. Now they call you a fascist or a
yeah,
bigot.
yeah.
They don't even say that.
Yeah, I'm
You
telling
know?
you, like, yeah, because of the fear of the consequences of in person it's gone. It really is gone, to the point that, you know, like, people can say what they want and not worry about, maybe they'll get canceled or whatever it is, or people will hate them online, but then they just create a new different page under a new name, and then they're back out doing the same thing. But you're right, like the in-person thing, being the Gen Xers that we were, and it was like, yeah, it's like I remember telling one of my friend's kids, he was, and this has been not been too long ago, he was like seriously like popping off on the phone and stuff like that. Just, and I'm like, bruh, like, what are you gonna do when they come kick your ass? And ain't nobody coming for me. Like, what? He's like, ain't no motherfuckers gonna come for me. He's like, first of all, they don't know where I'm at. They don't know where I live. Even if they did, what are they gonna do? They ain't gonna show up. People don't want to fight now. People don't want to do that now. And I was like, man, fuck, dude.
We like I said, we're getting back to human interactions. People maybe gonna get knocked out again. The
Yeah.
problem is you knock somebody out or you get knocked out. Well, listen, I've got knocked out. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie. And it's crazy. I was, back in the day, I thrived on that shit. Like, I went to an all boys school, so there was always beef.
Always beef.
I'm a competitive person, so like, you get into a fucking fist fight with your best friend over fucking who wanted to be the quarterback. You know what I
And
mean?
then
Like,
10 minutes later, you were good.
Your best friends,
Yeah.
But I would love for it to get back to that, and granted, like the people that I've been knocked out with are always like half my size.
Yeah.
Like small dudes, just cold cock me, bang, wake up seeing stars. But I most likely deserved it.
Oh, I know every ass beating that I've got. Anybody who's given me an ass beating, anybody that's ever confronted me, and we've went that far, it's because I deserved it. Because back in the day, I was a mouthy, mouthy, mouthy motherfucker, and I would never let someone get a word in edgewise. I will always come back with something, even if it was nonsense off the wall stuff. And that's the way it was. I don't know what there was in my brain that wouldn't let me just be like, especially competitiveness, competing against somebody. I always respected people when we were competing, but before that, street basketball talk was all we did in anything we did. And it was just like, that was it. And so I know that I deserved every single physical confrontation I've ever been in.
Oh, me too, 100%.
Yeah,
I was
100%.
the youngest kid in the neighborhood, and I
Oh,
always hang out with kids that were like 3 to 4 years older than me. So I was the fucking test dummy.
yeah,
I was always the one fucking getting hurt, like
yeah,
but
uh-huh.
it built character, and I always say this: I'm really good at reading people, and I think that skill was acquired at a young age because I needed to read these people, these kids that I was hanging out with, so I didn't get beat up or I didn't get hurt or I wasn't the fucking first person to get put on this fucking, soapbox car to go down this hill. So I learned to read people at a really young age. And I still, till this day, I have a very good judge of character. And you can ask Steve and people that are close to me. Steve will tell you that I can pinpoint somebody right out of the box. Like I could tell their personality, I could tell what kind of person they are, if they're good, they're bad. I just have this really good way of reading people. And I think that's why why I'm such a good salesperson also, is because I'm really good at reading people. But that skill was acquired by growing up in a neighborhood that was not easy. It was rough, and all I was trying to do was not get hurt.
Necessity. It was built out of necessity.
Yeah, it was a pure desperation of like, how am I? And the thing is, I always would outsmart them because I always would read what they were going to do before they did it, and I always was able to
The maneuver.
like fucking neutralize the situation. I've tested some products that I probably shouldn't have. Like, they strapped a fucking GoPed frame. I don't know if you remember what a GoPed was, but a GoPed frame to a fucking Barbie Power Wheels. And guess what? I was the fucking one to test it. There was no fucking brakes. I had plastic wheels. I mean, this is probably going back to like 1996, 1997. And I went through a fucking fence. And that fence opened my fucking leg up.
Oh.
I was bleeding, but that's just life, it's experience. It's gained experience, and I'm just happy I still have a good mind that I can remember all those things that happened to me because it kind of, I use those skills that I acquired as a kid to get where I am today. So
absolutely, it worked out great.
No regrets.
No regrets. Thanks, Mike, for coming on the show. We're definitely going to have you back on in a couple weeks because I know we're not done talking about what we're talking about. It's been great, and I love this. This is good. So
come on, guys, let's fucking Mike.
fucking mic.
No, my headphones aren't working. Hold on. Damn it. There we go. So everybody listening, make sure you share this. Show James some love. I'm not doing
Yeah,
any
thanks.
podcasts, so if you want to hear me yap, it's going to be on here. So request it. Put your request in.
Yeah, put your
All
request
right.
in for Mike, and anybody who's thinking about starting a podcast,
The
I highly
douchebag from
encourage
New
it.
York.
Yeah, douchebag from New York, motherfucker, shut up. All right, thanks
J-O.
everybody.
You know, if you don't know what J-O stands for, it means jerk off.
Drug off.
Jerk off. You're a jerk off. You're a J-O. Not a Joe. You're a jerk off.
J-O. You're J-O, sir. All right, thanks
All right,
everybody.
guy. Have a great day.